Hello and welcome to the Gamtrix. I'm Matt and today I'll be talking you through my review of Starfield. So without further ado, let's begin. Enter the Starfield, a phrase that we've all surely heard passed around for a long time now in the build up to Bethesda's brand new universe in over 25 years. Starfield started development in 2015 and was kept tightly under wraps until 2022 when we got our first official look, and it did not disappoint. Flash forward to September 2023 and we all have our hands on this brand new spacefaring adventure from the legendary developers of the Elder Scrolls and Fallout series. I've had a lot of hands-on time with the game and now managed to complete the main storyline and spent a few dozen hours exploring the vastness of space, completing side quests, engaging in some vicious dogfights in the dark depths of the unknown. I've lots of notes about the game as a whole and I'm going to talk you through them as we go, so strap yourself into your pilot seat and get ready for takeoff. Starfield is Bethesda's first ever venture into interstellar territory, and by looks alone, they've knocked it out of the park. A veteran company with a deep history of world building has played tightly into their strengths by building a galaxy of over 1,000 interwoven planets across various solar systems. Detail has been dripped into each environment, from dazzling coloured lights of the planet Neon that glisten off each walkway and storefront, and clearly revelling in its cyberpunk-inspired aesthetic, to the sleek postmodern industrial look of New Atlantis, with its silver-laced buildings and gorgeous reflective shine off almost every surface. Building upon a new space-age adventure, graphical enhancements have been made to push the most out of each system to give the best-looking game from the developers, with impressive rendering technology and attention to atmospheric details, creating consistent and beautiful visuals, even in a game engine that can feel a little dated and in need of an update to the modern era. Starting the game as a new miner on a remote moon, your character, which you will design in a very robust character creation suite with intricate levels of detail, and filling out choosing traits and backstory for your new age base explorer. You soon come into contact with some shiny metal artifacts that set you on the path to joining an organisation called Constellation, meeting brand new friends, companions to travel the universe with and unravel the mystery around these artifacts, delving deeper into the unknown. The writing here has been crafted fantastically to give varying and believable characters who all serve to add a different flair of personality and flesh out the game world. Voice acting has been painstakingly shaped to fit each scenario, and you can really feel it in each interaction with the main cast. Tragic moments are felt with audible trembles and voice breaks, and moments of levity, bouncy and warm, giving more depth to the people of this universe, and doing so adding far more enriching to the young new game universe that we would invest our time in. The game has taken cues from various other space-age universes, such as Aliens, Star Trek and Star Wars, but without it being completely obvious. Playing in this world will have you really believing in space travel and all of the nuanced details that come with otherworldly exploration. Having the ability to swap in an instant between first person and third person perspective gives the ability to experience the world from different angles, depending on how you would prefer to play. If you were to compare it to other titles being released around this time, Starfield will not stand out as the prettiest or hold the most graphical fidelity, but for a brand new title in Bethesda's game engine, it holds its own in a big way. Minus the odd frame drop and game stutter on my playthrough, I didn't find anything majorly alarming about how the game looks or it feels in its visual delivery. On Xbox consoles, the game is locked at 30 frames per second, a design choice that was put in place to keep the player immersed for as long as possible without being interrupted by repetitive frame drops or screen tears. This choice ultimately pays off as it feels smooth and crisp for vast amounts of the game, only ever noticeable in highly populated areas or very intense firefights. Starfield follows the formula of the vast majority of Bethesda role-playing games, and this plays to its strengths in a dramatic way. It's been lovingly dubbed by fans as Skyrim in space, and this is no way an insult. The game feels very broadly open, and it's down to player choice how you decide to inhabit this world. Playing through the main storyline, partaking in side quests and activities, or simply buying a home and roaming the universe in your starship. There's no wrong way to play this game, as it's completely down to player choice and how you navigate your way through its universe. This freedom of choice is what gives the game a very special spark, and the fact that you are left mostly autonomous is a great thing. Something to note here is the game is aimed as a shooter, so there is a lot of different guns and styles to play in. There are a few melee weapons in the game, but unless you're investing skills into the right areas for your character, you'll mainly be playing with guns throughout the game. This is where the skill system comes in. Learning new abilities and skills shapes the way you play and how you will approach situations with your character. Investing skill points into stealth will allow for sneak kills and moving around with less detection from enemies. Putting points into like ballistic weapons instead of energy weapons will allow you to pick and choose what types of weapons you want to acquire along the way. And obviously putting points into melee based abilities will give you more of a melee based build. Playing through the main questline was a lot of genuine fun, and is filled with turns and surprises that can catch you off guard very quickly. However, I do think that the game rushes you into scenarios without enough investment or understanding of the overarching end goal. I found on my playthrough that vast amounts of storytelling that was presented to me was through side quests and exploration. Digging for lore on a new universe that I wanted to know more about, this is where I feel it falls short. So instead of spooning various bits of information about this new universe to me as the player, I often found myself having to hunt around to figure out why certain people and actions were so relevant, and what would happen if I didn't blindly stick to the path without question. I enjoyed learning about the world for myself in such a free way of exploration, but it did feel at times that I was left to work out the universe without any sort of critical information that would have helped me make far more informed decisions about my actions and how they would affect the universe at large in a general sense. The main plotline feels a little stretched at points, and I would benefit from some thinning out, shifting focus onto something more of the side quests. Activities and side quests are where Starfield really does shine though. Nuanced interactions can lead to some very interesting and engaging stories that can carry through for a longer duration than you might expect. I found myself at times foregoing the main story for some deep side quests that gave more of a connection to the universe and its people, telling shorter, more engaging stories that made me invest in the characters I was trying to help. Gunplay is a work of sci-fi art. It's no Call of Duty on depth or scale, but I did get the feeling I was in a very distant future setting with advanced new age technology. Popping my trigger and feeling energy blast rocket from my gun was a thrilling feeling, and taking down enemies in quick succession felt rather new but comfortably familiar from my experience with the Fallout series. Starfield has varying levels of difficulty, but I never felt any need to adjust from the normal setting, as balance has been a key variable here to getting the RPG formula correct. Scope and scale of the game are without question one of the biggest single-player Bethesda titles to date, with over 1,000 planets in the universe to play around with. It did come as a short, sharp blow though to learn that only 100 of them actually gave me the ability to land and explore. Some of these planets were disappointing to wander through as they were barren and lifeless, with no real reason for the player to explore other than to harvest some resources. But the planets I did explore, I did set up outposts and harvest resources, and they were great to look at. This brings me on to spaceships and universal travel. This has to be my biggest issue with the game. Space travel is all contextually menu based and interlaced with loading screens and short transitions. I felt that unless you were engaging in dogfights in orbit, that you could pretty much forego ever needing to use your ship for vast amounts of the game in any other way. As travelling didn't feel authentic or intergalactic, it felt more like one big loading screen without any of the magic of hyperdrive travel except for one short transition. I feel I spent more time in my menus and loading screens from solar system travel than I did actually flying my ship, and that was really underwhelming. Without going into story spoilers here, the game does offer some form of replayability, but after venturing around the universe for a vast amount of hours, it does feel as if it comes with a hefty price that I doubt many would be willing to invest in with such limited knowledge of this fresh new universe. For a brand new IP in over 25 years, Bethesda have outdone themselves with Starfield, a brand new interstellar adventure combining all the best bits of the studio's rich history of world building and story crafting. In some areas, it feels hit and miss and left me feeling that there were no repercussions for my actions to shape the game and story I ventured through, and with the odd frame rate drop here and there, the game does look great and it does play as you would expect from Bethesda RPG created in their dated engine. However, it does feel a little bit tightly compacted, with the restrictive nature of space travel being condensed to menu management and loading screens, removing some of the magic of the spacefaring adventure I thought I would be going on. An overall fun, engaging and new experience from a veteran game studio starting a new IP, Starfield delivers a galactic romping around a dense and populated universe with a huge array of quests and worlds to explore and get among the stars for hours. Thanks for listening to this review. What do you think about the game? Do you feel any differently? If there's anything I missed that you can think of, be sure to mention it in the comments, and as always, be sure to subscribe for regular updates, videos and reviews right here in the Gamtrix.